Hi, everybody. I'm your host T, and this is going to be Let's Not Play Jak and Daxter, with, of course, my co-host Kim,
Hello.
and we're going to be talking about the Jak and Daxter series, or at least what we can recall, because I seem to be a bit hazy on it, but Kim seems to know the general ideas. So for the next, I don't know, let's say 30 minutes or so, we're going to be discussing. We're going to try 30 minutes, yeah, not like our Resident Evil one, and we're going to be discussing Jak and Daxter, a platform game on the PlayStation systems that revolved around hard-to-reach jumps, tough platforming, and a relentless world map.
I
So,
wouldn't call it tough.
I don't know. I mean, like, you have to consider it. But, all right, so what was the story for that like, Kim?
Well, the first one is vastly different than the next two. The next two get a little gritty. But the first one, it's very colorful and pleasant. You play as mute Jak. He doesn't speak other than making your typical Link, yeah, ugh, ow noises. Your best friend, you don't listen. They have sages throughout the world for different types of eco. You've got red, yellow, green,
Don't deviate
blue.
too far. We'll get there.
But anyways, green eco sage, he's all wise and tells you don't go to this island. You don't listen. You fall upon in like an evil plot going on. Little later, your buddy falls into dark eco, transforms into an Otzel, which is a little furry, like 4-foot high creature.
It's a friggin' ferret with glasses and no pants.
It's an otter and a weasel, as the name would imply. Either way, you decide, let's go find Gall Acheron, who is the dark eco. He's not a sage, but he knows the most. And they're like, let's go on this giant journey across the land to find him to get your buddy changed back.
So before we continue, let's just start with Jak 1. So, of course, Kim mentioned that Jak 1 is dramatically different from the other games in the sense that in Jak 1, it plays more like a platform game accustomed to Mario or Vex, as I bring up quite often, where you're introduced to a world map where they tell you, go collect the 7 stars, or go collect, in this case, the power cells.
And precursor orbs to get power cells.
It's kind of like coins and stars, essentially. Yeah, so you unlock different levels, and each one has kind of cryptic objectives, where you go until you get enough power cells to fight a boss or proceed the game. So, then we move on, and what happens in the story. Spoiler warning, guys, we're not holding back.
Spoiler warning, for the first game, turns out the guy you're going to go save Daxter, turn him back human. Are you human? What are you? What is with those ears? Anyways, he turns out to be the guy that's trying to kill you. One thing I do love, Gall's voice actor is Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. I always thought that was pretty cool. I do like Twisted Sister.
Fun facts.
Yay! But yeah, he turns out to be the guy trying to kill you. And now it goes from, let's get Daxter changed back to, oh crap, we gotta stop this guy from destroying the world with Dark Eco.
As always, he and his sexy counterpart, I believe.
His sister.
It was his sister?
I'm pretty sure that's his sister.
Ooh.
Nolan Maya.
I knew it was a Maya. All right.
It's always a Maya.
Hey, Golden Sun taught me that. So, essentially, the game's so linear. It's fairly linear. It gives you options, but they essentially hurry you into beautiful environments where you run around and
collect power cells, fight bosses,
learn to jump in different situations.
Get eaten by lurker sharks.
Should we address that now or later?
Let's address that now. It doesn't take too much. Basically, they gave you a big, open, seamless world. They didn't want too many loading screens and whatnot, so you can pretty much flawlessly progress from each different section to section. There are teleporters, which do have a little bit of loading, but other than that, it's pretty good. But to keep you from wandering too far, they didn't want to put up invisible walls. No one likes invisible walls, so they gave you the lurker shark. And if you swim too far out, you start getting the heartbeat, dut-dut, dut-dut. And then next thing you know, this thing, you can see it swim up from the bottom and it jumps up and eats you. It's quite fun.
You ever see that scene from Jaws 1 when the naked woman is swimming by herself in the water and she thinks it's totally okay, but then you hear that Jaws music and you know she's going to be ripped in twain? It's kind of like that, just a lot more colorful, with a giant fat orange fish that tries to eat you. It's pretty sweet. Anyway, this lurker shark doesn't seem to care where you are or what you're doing, but the second you hit that water and you hit sploosh, you better start moving your backside out of there because you can't avoid this shark. But you gotta understand, you are dead the second you hit that water unless you move. That's virtually all I have to say on that topic. He doesn't really get to me that much.
Not to say you can't swim at all. There are a lot of swimming. You can dive. I did like the diving. But it's to keep you from going too far.
It's kind of like in Jak 2. It's not the lurker shark, but a little like device comes out of the water and says you're drifting too far away from the city and it'll waste you. Now this kind of confuses me in the sense that to prevent you from leaving the city,
we're going to blast you.
We're going to shoot you in the face. All right then. But I guess it's under the tyrannical reign of Baron Underbite or whatever his name is.
Baron Praxis.
Baron Underbite is what I'm going with.
Praxis.
Fine. Baron Praxis. Fine. Okay. All right. I gotcha. So, long story short, at the end of the game, if, of course, you collected all of the power cells, being
There's
101.
Two endings. There's 101, and the good thing about that was there was a glitch in the games where it was impossible to get one of the power cells. I don't remember the conditions, but it was impossible to beat the time in one of the canyon.
It's a race thing you have to do.
It's a race, and they offered, if you send our memory card in, we'll fix it for you. But otherwise, go find a friend that has it and just play through it on their game. But either way, if you have, I think it's under 100, they tell you, go back and find the rest, and then come back to this giant gate thing atop this giant precursor silo. If you have 100, Daxter pipes in with of course we have 100 power cells. We're superheroes. And
we never lose. We never fail. And this, I guess what these power cells do is they open up a portal, which it totally screws you because, I mean, if you could... A rift gate. If you open this thing up, I mean, you would expect at least to hear Jak talk or something, right? No. This mute. You really just, all that happens is the gate opens and they just...
pretty.
It's beautiful. And, then it just cuts to the credits. You kind of wasted your time. But I guess what they're leaning at is if you collect all 100 power cells, it leads you right into Jak 2's story, where I guess we can continue from here, in which...
Before we move on to Jak 2, another thing I want to point out that they took out of the rest of the games that I loved in one is when you die, Daxter would give you some sort of smart-ass line while you're lying there.
We definitely can come back to death, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess this is, just not to deviate too far, in the story takes place right after, when 2 opens, it's literally right after Jak and Daxter,
Kira's working on the rift gate, trying to get it working and whatnot, because she's some sort of mechanical genius.
Kira being Jak's love interest.
Yes, who doesn't date animals, apparently.
Hint. Yeah, so essentially this rift gate opens up, and this giant monster, I'm not going to say his name or what he is yet, because it's not quite important to the story yet, pulls them both in, and they end up in some big futuristic city, where Jak is then kidnapped, Daxter escapes.
Don't worry, I'll save you, buddy, and takes off.
2 years later.
And interesting enough, the Daxter PSP game, I love this game, it is the 2 years that Daxter spent without Jak, so...
Poor furry thing.
Indeed.
So, essentially, the world's a lot different this time around. It's no longer sun and hugs. It's, this
dark,
city...
gritty, dirty, Jak speaks.
It's mean, and, it's not a loving world. Jak gets kidnapped, and, by this Baron Praxis character, Underbite, and he is then experimented on with Dark Eco, where they're injecting it into him, essentially just to see if it'll kill him or not.
Or if they can make a super soldier.
And they succeed in both, because apparently the specter of a creature bursts out of the chains while Daxter comes to save the day, and Jak speaks for the words...
I'm gonna kill Baron Praxis!
Which is funny, because you wouldn't expect to hear this out of our lighthearted hero from the first game. So you escape with Daxter into the city.
Not after you try and kill him and just kind of restrain yourself at the last second, and Daxter's like, remind me not to piss you off.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
essentially escape, and this new character, not really a character, this new side of Jak comes out, called, real creative, guys, Dark Jak. Who is essentially a feral version of Jak. He gets longer teeth, longer nails. Grows horns.
He's kind of purple.
And he shoots lightning out of every orifice. So he essentially gets sicked on it. Baron Praxis sees this, and they're free to explore the world. We'll get to the gameplay right away, but essentially, if you want to fill in the finer points of the story there.
Finer points being...
Like, what happens after that in the city?
Well, the second you get out there, you run into this guy, Core, this old man, and this young little boy running around, and I can't remember what he says exactly, but he's like, oh, you should go meet my buddy, he'll help you out, and...
Yeah, probably should introduce the metalheads.
Oh, yeah, the metalheads. Well, you don't see the metalheads for a little while after. The Crimson Guards are the first thing you have to deal with.
Essentially, this world is at war with
everything.
With everything. The rebels are fighting the Crimson Guard, who are like the military. The military is at war with the rebels, but both are terrified of the things that are outside of the city, which are these big monsters that come in all shapes and sizes, called metalheads, which are horrifying creatures that are pushing their way through the gate. So we're introduced to this resistance that is run by Core and these other characters.
The resistance run by Torn.
They're bloody names. I'm awful at names, especially with Jak and Daxter.
Crimson Guards are run by Errol and Baron Praxis and Ashlyn, who is, lo and behold, Baron Praxis's hot daughter.
She's not hot.
She's better. She tries.
She tries. It's like watching a butch woman
she
try
was intended to be. It didn't quite work out so well.
You can slap makeup on a pig. It doesn't make the pig attractive, buddy.
It's not makeup, it's a tattoo. Why does everyone have a tattoo?
Everyone has a tattoo. Anyway, so we're running really short on time, so I guess we're going to try to finish at least 2 up. So essentially, you go into the city, you make connection after connection after connection after connection after connection in a Grand Theft Auto style world map where you slowly unlock new contacts and you do things for them until they reveal some big pivotal plot twist that results in a big race, a big boss fight, or some big character dying. Essentially, if I'm not mistaken, you fight Baron Praxis, kill him. No, wait, that's not right.
No, I don't remember.
No,
fighting.
Core kills Baron Praxis.
You fight Errol in a race, and Errol goes to like run you over at the end, being a poor sport, and he misses and crashes into barrels of Dark Eco. Who thought it'd be a good idea to use those as like cushions? All right, we need some barrels to receive the blow. I know, let's fill them with deadly Dark Eco.
Here's a thought nitroglycerin. That would be a lot safer. Yeah, this goes fairly well enough, except it blows up. Anyway, it's kind of hard to describe the story of Jak 2 because it's done through about 1 million cutscenes that are all semi-important as they introduce character after character.
You meet some old characters from the first game that you kind of forgot about. Well, you were looking for. I do love how you meet Kira. Kira's behind the curtain and she refuses to talk to you. She's totally like, yeah, whatever. I don't care who you are. Go deal with it. She doesn't clue in until Daxter speaks, and she's like, what the
I know that annoying little weasel anywhere, and she pulls the curtain.
And there she sees Jak, and she's like, you speak? Who knew?
Who could tell? And he's like cursing and stuff. Yes, but I guess we're not going to finish this story. I'm going to try to mop this up pretty quick. Essentially, at the end of the game, the government is overthrown. And the metalhead leader comes full-on force to the city, so they pretty much send Jak and Daxter to solve this problem, which essentially turns into Jak, use your new weapons and go kill Core. So you go and you have this big climactic showdown with Core, and I do not recall what happens to the end of the game.
I don't either. I haven't played in so long, and I went to go replay, and I have all the games. I have every game they've made in the series, and that's the one game I can't find right now.
It's the weirdest thing. I just remember Core is defeated. What happens at the beginning of 3? Better question.
3, the metalheads still managed to destroy the tower, and they blame it on Jak, of course. Oh, it's your fault they got in. You did all this to us. So they exile him.
Yes, well, we're going to have to pick this up in part 3, I'm afraid, or 2, I'm afraid. And, of course, I'm going to be your host, T, and this is my co-host, Kim.
Hello.
And or goodbye. But
Screw your goodbye.
We're gonna join us in part 2 of Let's Not Play Jak and Daxter.